Welcome to Master List, a series where I show you decks that I think are fairly competent in Master Duel, and then we go over them. Today, I'm bringing you plants, specifically Rika Sun Avalon, an exceptionally competent combo deck that saw some success in the TCG, but was sadly outpaced by decks such as Tyr and Spright. However, in Master Duel right now, Tyr's nowhere to be seen, leaving only Spright to be contended with. So, here's the list. We have 2 Loci, 2 Petal, both being 1-card starters, and are fully searchable through either side of the combo, so we only really want to open one. We've got 1 Twin, 3 Lone Fire, another Searcher, bringing our normals to 7, perhaps a bit too much, but alas. We've got a Primula, 3 Princess being a negate, a tribute, and a special. We really want to see it. 2 Mudan, and a Snowdrop. Onto the spells. We have Terraforming, 1 for 1, 3 Unexpected Die, 3 Glamour, and 3 Triple Tactics. Low-key, by the way, one of the best cards in this game. We've got 1 Sowing, 2 Con being an insane card that we want to search, or have one in the opener, not multiple. Finally, for the spells, we end on 2 Called By, semi-limited, by the way, very important card. Because we hard lose to Maxi, surprisingly enough, as every deck does. As for the traps, we've got 3 Evenly, 3 Imperm, a Sheet, and 2 Rivalry. We can play under Rivalry really well, considering we're only plants, and most decks in the current format can, so might as well play it. On to the games. Okay, going into game 1, our hand looks pretty good for going first. We have what we need, so let's see how it goes. We activate Die, and so long as they don't... fuck, the bug, a classic. Well, figured might as well show the biggest weakness of this deck. Can't play around Maxi almost at all. Requires a very specific kind of hand. Well, we might as well play into it. We use the Loci here, going into Dryas, and we can start the count here at 1. Let's see how many we can get to. We activate Sowing. We started with it in hand, unfortunately, didn't get to search it, and they Ash it. Apparently the count's not going to get too high. Not a big deal though, whatever. I Terra for Con, normal the Primula, activate said Con, and then we set Glamour. Okay, at this point, I'm tilted to make a misplay. I should have set Sheet and passed, giving us 2 pieces of interaction to use. However, I'm not thinking, and I'm just existing at this moment. We activate the Con, tributing the Primula, adding Petal and Loci. Seeing that we have nothing, I just scoop. Okay. So we start the duel, and honestly, I think this is going to be a good one. I think this is going to... Fuck! We get roached and draw. Okay. It's fine. We could do something, I think. We start with the normal and activate Petal, trying to see if he's got any more known interruptions. We don't see anything, so we Terra. We add Mudan, my apologies first. Then we Terra for Con for Sheet, set 1, pass. This board doesn't look fantastic, but you take a step back, you'll see that we have a Negate, a Tribute, a Snatch Steal, and a Rivalry. That seems pretty good. Let's see what our opponent's on. Our opponent normals Apira, consigning us to Spright. We flip Rivalry in response, locking out of said Sprites, unless he gets starter, of course. And he does. Great. Alright, not horrible still. He's probably going to lock himself into Sprites, which will be good. Okay, the chain resolves, he draws a card. Choosing to lock themselves into Thunders. Still not too happy about that. Let's see what else we can do. He activates blue and gets, after choosing to keep the Thunder hyping, we chain Princess using Con to tribute the blue, indicating its effect. He now has no 2s, which is good. He tips, and in my head I'm like, okay, he can Destruction for the Con or Destruction for the Warlords. He adds Dispelling, which is weird, but hey, listen, I don't know his hand, so it could be something really good. He Dispels, especially Hugin effect. I'm sweating a little bit here. He sends Capshell, adding the Fountain. We have no way to really interact with this. I'm expecting to draw 3. He activates the Fountain, sets 1, and passes after going to the battle phase. Okay, this board is manageable, probably. He would have drawn 3 if he had it, so I'm expecting nothing, or perhaps just runic cards that he can't activate. Like, I'm not sure. He could activate pretty much any runic card, so I'm banking on him not having it. Okay, well, we activate Petal in our main, adding Snowdrop. Then we use Con to set Glamour. Glamour, tributing our monster. This will let us add Primula and a second princess to hand. We can special both the Primula from the tribute and then princess using its effect. We overlay both of them to make Strenna. Strenna will let us add back the Glamour. And then Mudan will tribute the Strenna. We will then activate both of their effects. Speed this up a bit. Strenna to make Hyperton, adding itself underneath, and Mudan to add the second Con. We then use Snowdrop, using the effect of Con. They chain Spright blue, but we don't want them to get the effect, so we chain Princess, tributing our princess, sadly. I had a really cute play lined up, with Con being a soft once per turn to tribute 2 of his monsters, but I waited a bit too long for that, but it's fine. At this point, it's just a win more strategy. We use Con in hand to activate the Hyperton, attaching the Con in grave, hopefully stopping the next draw 3, and our opponent scoops. Alright, as my favorite YouTuber says, into that all-important game 3. Now, this hand looks iffy, but we are going second. So let's see how it goes. We're up against what appears to be Spright. I'm going to speed up a little bit. He reveals Fractal, going to send Kit sending Nerval. Don't mind me, fan of the classics, truly. Nerval, add Karos, normal summoning Beaver. Speaking of classics, they normal Beaver for Beaver. They go into Gigantic from here. What a surprise. Gigantic for blue. Blue for Jet. And then Jet for starter? Ah, truly. One of a kind play. They link off 2 of the monsters for Elf. And they use starter now for Carrot, making IP by linking off Carrot and Gigantic. And from this position, this is the typical Spright pure end board. Let's see what else they can do using their unique Tri-Brigade package. They use Elf for Kit effect, banishing 2 to make her older sister, using Farajit to special summon the Karos from hand, and then linking off the spent Kit and Farajit to make Bearbrum, using Farajit to quote-unquote fix their hand a bit extraneous. There we go, that was the word I was thinking of, considering they have used everything, but it's fine. They use Karos, making Double Dragon, and they link them both off for Farajit, adding Revolt? They must have drawn it off of the Farajit. That's very funny. Okay, so what do we know in the back row? Probably Revolt, maybe Smashers, maybe Starter, maybe Called By, IP, Elf, and Double Dragon Lords. Let's see what we can do. Alright. Our draw for turn is the second Called By, which our opponent immediately Max sees in the draw step. Very funny that the second Called By is actually coming in clutch here. We use the Called By on the Max C in the draw. They cannot elf it because they did it in the draw phase. With the minigame 1, we still have quite the board to slog through. We threaten to go to battle. In response, they activate Elf, targeting Carrot, and I don't think so, my friend. We're going to use the second Called By here. Semi-limited, by the way. They let the chain resolve. They then elect to use IP for a 4-mana Apo. However, I simply don't care. Even if they keep it, we have lots of ways to interact. Wait a second. Hold on. They got rid of the 4-mana Apo? I mean, they surely sent the Revolt too, right? That card beats me, because I only have access to normals. We normaled the Petal, and they activate Revolt. Huh. Well, I misplayed here a little bit. I could have activated the Glamour first, and then special to Princess, to see if I could be able the Revolt, but we did not do that. They go Revolt, and I'm assuming they're making the Ominous Omen. They in fact are. They will then banish our Petal. Whew. I now choose to use Glamour, adding Princess, but a bit too late. I special it and then elect to make Dryas, manifesting that he simply will not banish it. He goes to draw. He will normal summon the Nervall, using its effect to make Rugal, using the Sure Egg to banish, and then linking into a 5300 attack access code, putting lethal on board, and that's all she wrote. Alright, well, final thoughts. Starting off, we got the pros. This deck is based and epic. It provides a bunch of really cool interactions that most decks can't deal with. Being able to tribute your opponent's monsters is hard, even for Spright to deal with. It's also extremely consistent. If your opponent has no interaction, you will almost always have full combo. The deck is really new. What I mean by that is, most lists aren't finalized, and there are tons of ways you can put your own unique spin on the deck. The cons, however, is, this deck has game against Spright specifically, even going second. However, Runic and macro decks in general represent a line of play that just go under almost everything this deck does. The only way you can really interact with them is Hyperton, and that's something you have to be able to get to. It's also extremely vulnerable to Max C. And yeah, you can add more cards to beat it. However, the typical your opponent hand has a 100% chance to have Max C, and your hand has a 0% chance to say Called by Crossa or Ash. There's not much you can do about it unless you have a very competent hand that can play through it, kind of. And third, this deck is really hard. You've got to put in a lot of hours to really find the intricacies of what you need to do to win the game. Hell, even partway through recording this, I still have a hard time understanding what Glamour does 100%. Maybe I'm just dumb. However, unfortunately for these plants, their garden has an infestation, and I don't think they'll make it through the winter.